Well, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. Boy, do we have a really exciting episode for you today. We're going to do a product review. We're going to do a product review on a billiard table, an 8-foot billiard table. As growing up, I remember there were a couple things that I really wanted as a child, but I knew I couldn't achieve those until I was an adult. Now with retirement and all the hard work that I've done all the years, I'm starting to achieve some of those goals. Anyway, today we're going to do a product review on one of the things that I've always wanted, which is a billiard table. So let's go ahead and get today's episode started. Now without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Let me go and explain to you some of the decision-making process when it came to selecting a billiard table. I went and I wanted something that was affordable, but I also wanted something that was attractive and good quality. A lot of times affordability and good quality don't go together. Normally that's what you would expect. So I went online and I did some research. What's the average cost of a 8-foot billiard table? And it seemed like most of the prices were anywhere between $4,000 and about $8,000. They went up as high as right around $10,000, and they went down as low. I found one on Amazon, which was a very simple, like a composite type of wood, like MDF, a lot of MDF, and it wasn't slate tabletop. It was also MDF, and it was about $1,000. So I saw the range between $1,000 and $10,000. So after I looked at all of these, I started doing research and I went on to Alibaba. And on Alibaba, I found a pool table that I liked. It looked like it was an affordable price. And I spoke with the selling agent who worked regularly for the manufacturer, and I had a really good experience. I ended up purchasing one, and let's go ahead and talk about or show you the actual delivery, the unboxing, the assembly, and then the final results, and you tell me what you think.
Billiard game. Hindi, dandahan lang ha, kay ingatan at sumingatan doon. Yeah. Oh, baba ka na, baba. Kaya baba ka na, baba. Buat ka na? Mga ano tayo, bula. Bula tsaka tako. Tako? Tako tsaka bula. Na.
Hi. Hey. Hi.
Lalagit na. Yan. Sito na kayo. Patama. Dandahan mo tama. Dandahan. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I should get Emily to come down, you know.
I'm like, okay, yeah, just hold some pressure on it. I went in and got one up for
There's the felt.
felt.
So I'm gonna have to apply the felt. This is the wood.
There's some wood. Everybody says more wood.
Well, before I get started with anything, I had to mark off the area that the pool table is actually going to lay in. And the area that I marked off right here gives an allowance for at least 5 feet from the rail. 5 feet this way, so I have a 5 feet distance between here and the workshop. The wall over this side, this wall will be cleared up when we play. And for this area right here. Not worried about this side because we have the whole garage area on this side. And I put my markers down, and this is actually how I established where I wanted to center our the lamp, the pool table lamp. Anyway, I picked the ones with the canines, with the dogs on here, because I love dogs. You know that. So anyway, the first thing I recommend you doing is just opening up the boxes and getting to the pieces. I got a video, an assembly video from the company that I purchased this on Alibaba, but it's not really the greatest video for assembly. It's got some key points, but it's not a very detailed. So I always recommend when you're putting any project together is to start off by taking the pieces out, laying them across the floor so you know what you have for inventory, and you kind of know there's a logical way of putting things together. Just like we did with the golf cart over there when we built the golf cart. Remember, we did a video on this, and if you'd like, I'll leave a link in today's video at the end. And when we built the golf cart right here, we did a systematic way because the instructions again weren't that good, and we just laid the parts all over the garage and we put them together, put the assembly together in a logical format. And that's the approach I'm going to use with this, unless I can find some really written instructions somewhere inside. So let's go ahead and get all this stuff out of the box and lay it all over the floor. So, what happens sometimes in a shipment, especially an international shipment, you might get a damaged part, and we got a damaged part in this one, but it's not the end of the world. And if it had to be a broken part, this is probably one of the parts that need to be broken. This is the leg support, and I'll show you what it's supposed to look like when it's installed. I've already started doing some of the assembly. And this is the leg support right here. It goes between the end legs right here, and the table will go on the top up here. So this one, it comes in a pair of 2. This one was in good condition as well as all the other parts, but this one, as you can see, is broken. So I got a hold of the selling agent. Her name is Beanley. Very, very easy person to talk to, and speaks or is able to translate. And I imagine she speaks very well English also, but I was able to explain what part was bad, and she assured me they're going to send out a replacement part for this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and continue, and I'll probably stick some epoxy in here just as a holding place so I got the right width between the legs inside there, and we'll try to put this back in temporarily, but you can see it's obviously really, really bad broken. And we'll continue on with the build, and we'll wait on the replacement part from our fine friends over in China. Now with the slabs on top of the frame, what I'm going to do is some leveling. I have to get some wooden shims. We're going to put some wooden shims because you can see the slabs, they are not lined up together. Because of the wooden frame itself is not perfect. So we'll go ahead and do the leveling. Then there's some gluing that we'll have to do, cleaning up the glue. Then once that is all done, we'll put some felt, the felt that came with it right here to the tabletop. And then after that, we'll use the framing, and we'll put the framing on top of the finished slab top with the felt. Off to the next step. The next step is going to be filling in the gaps. Everything is level. I got my shims in place, and I left a big enough gap inside here to go ahead and put the adhesive in between the slabs. I'll put it in, I'll push on each side, push it together, and then we'll clean it off with a small working spatula. This is the two-part. The two-part adhesive that comes is basically like a part A and a part B. So we're going to call this part A, and this is going to be the hardener, part B. I'm going to mix it on this piece of wood up here. Better if I had a piece of tile, but I don't have any loose piece of tile laying around right now. So that's the next step. Just remember to get it inside, and then push it together and then clean it up so there's no residue left on the top of the marble slab. With all the slabs connected to each other with the adhesive in between, next thing to do is to put the felt on. I've got the felt right here. So it's going to be kind of tough with one person, but I'm going to see how good I can get this done all by myself here. Now you can see the step that we're at now is applying the felt top. This is a very important step right here, as is all the steps of assembly of the pool table. But for this step right here, normally, if you look at all the videos that the sellers sent to you, there's like 4 guys that are doing this. Well, I'm only one, and I'm going to try to improvise on the technique of applying the felt top. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of wood, I've lined it along one side, and I put some C-clamps up underneath the marble over to the top of the felt, and I've done just slight clamping. I don't want to clamp it down too much because I don't want to break the marble. And what this will do the part of like 3 guys standing on this side or 2 guys standing on this side holding down, while at the other time I can take this, I can get all of the wrinkles, a little bit of the wrinkles out. It's not important at this step for the wrinkles to be taken out because we're going to stretch it when we go back to the other side. What we'll do is we'll apply that method there to this side, then we'll stretch over before we apply the glue on the other side. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold this over, I'm going to apply the glue to this side right here, and I'm going to lay this down and allow this to dry, and then we'll move over to the other side. So I think this will work. We'll see in just a moment. Here's a little tip. The glue is pretty thick inside the bottle that they sent to you. So I am putting it in some hot water, not too hot, maybe around maybe 105 Fahrenheit, maybe a little over 40 degrees centigrade, and letting this make the glue a little bit thinner and it will flow. The viscosity will be a little bit better when I apply it to the side of the marble. Also, you're going to have to put some kind of hole inside. It's going to come sealed with a regular soda bottle. And so I put some holes inside there to allow it to flow. Don't make the holes too small, because if you make the hole too small, you're going to be in the middle of your project and find out that it's not going to come out of the top. So let's go ahead and wait for this to get a little bit viscosity for flowing a little bit better, and then we'll go ahead and apply it and roll the felt over the top of that. Now with the felt attached on all edges, and the next thing that we have to do is the corners and the center pocket holes. And the way you do that, you cut these pieces to where you'll see that they will cuff over here, and we're going to put some adhesive underneath the bottom around this area right here. So I hope I have enough left. Something I'd like to mention about this kit is the amount of glue that they give you doesn't seem to be quite enough. I would think that it would be better if they would add just a little bit more in case you do run short, because if you run short, then you're kind of messed up with the completion of putting this all together. But the most important part was getting the top section down, which we've got on there, and it came out quite well. So let me go ahead and try doing the attachment. I hope I have enough glue left, and then we'll move to the next step, which is the rails. Now with all of the pocket holes completed, the next step is going to be putting the side rails on. And before we attach the side rails, we have to open up these holes. Remember, in the marble slate, there were holes. There were, I believe, 3 for each section in between the ball pockets, and we just have to cut a little hole to allow for the screw to be able to go through here. So we'll do this for all of the holes everywhere, so just have to make an opening inside there. Now it's starting to look like a pool table. I haven't tightened down any of the connections underneath, So I'm going to do that after I put some of the corner edges on here to bring everything up nice and tight. And it's more bling than it is functional because it uses something like tacks that go inside here instead of screws or screws and bolts. But it will bring everything nice and tight for a nice tight fit and finish. And then I'll go ahead and secure everything underneath the bottom, so it will be the final part of this assembly. So let me go ahead and get some of these things in place. There'll be a corner piece that goes here and a piece that goes over this section right here. Let me go ahead and get that done. Now, since this is a 3-in-1 model, this can also be not just a pool table, but this can also be like a tabletop. But this is actually for a workstation. This would be like a desk area. But we're going to use it down here inside the basement because this is my work area, and I use this area also when I have some projects going on, or when Ness actually does some of her jewelry. She has her friends come over and they do jewelry building. This is Ness's jewelry stuff right up here. So they can do that as well. So at the back side of this, here you can take a look and you'll be able to see on the back side. And this is for ping pong, table tennis. Okay, everything's all together. Let's go ahead and wrap up today's episode on this pool table, this billiard table that I purchased on Alibaba. We're going to talk about several things. We're going to talk about things like fit and finish. We're going to talk a little bit about the way I was able to communicate with the seller. We're going to talk about value. Let's talk about value also. Anyway, let's go ahead and start from the fit and finish. I had kind of low expectations about ordering something of this magnitude, this size, from overseas. And when it arrived and I saw the quality of each one of the components that were inside there, I was extremely happy. Now, when I say fit and finish, I'm talking about the material, the quality of the wood. Now, this wood is not real wood. This is actually something like a high-density fiber type of a wood with a wood grain simulation over the top of it. But it still looks really good. And the tabletop, they offered both MDF tabletop or a natural stone slab, which they call this marble. This is 3 slabs of marble inside here. I went ahead and opted for the marble. Maybe it was a little bit more in the pricing, but it's well worth it because the balls roll very smoothly and it feels like a very high quality pool table. Fit and finish. Fit and finish also talking about where all the screw holes for everything lined up. I had no issues with the assembly of this pool table. And I did this entire pool table by myself, with the exception of I had some friends help take the slabs and lift it up off the ground and place it on it, because the slabs were extremely heavy. The entire weight of this table, I think, came in somewhere around 350 kilos on the shipping invoice. Okay, so that's the fit and finish. Let's also talk about, I want to do value, the very last thing. Let's talk about ease at which I was able to work with the seller. Now, I did this through the seller on Alibaba. The name of the seller is Guangzhou SQF Sports Company Limited. And the person I talked, her name was Beanley, B-E-N-L-E. And I'm going to leave a link at the end of today's episode and in the description block. I'm going to leave a link if you're interested for a product just like this one right here. Now, they don't only sell pool tables, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But I will tell you, I contacted about 5 different sellers for a pool table purchase. And out of the 5 different people, the highest regard to making sure the customer was satisfied was Beanley at Guangzhou. And I will tell you, it was such an easy transaction. I said what I wanted. Immediately said, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that. I went to other people. A lot of them said, no, we only sell MDF. We don't sell any type of a slate top or marble top. Some people never even got back to me. I put the inquiry in and they never replied back. So it was very easy. Also, customer service wise for shipping. The shipping got here about 2 weeks earlier than I expected. I think it arrived here between 2 and 3 weeks from the shipping day out of China. So very happy with that. Now the very last thing that I want to talk about value. Now in the intro, I said, is this a $600 or a $6,000 pool table? Normally you would expect to pay for a quote high quality pool table, I imagine somewhere between $6,000 and maybe $10,000 US inside there. Well, when I got the quote back on here, it wasn't actually $600. The quote for this, well, it was actually less than $600 without the marble, but with the marble top, it went to $620. Can you imagine $620 for this beautiful pool table inside here? This pool table is going to give us many, many hours of enjoyment down here in the basement, in the man cave here at Villa Feliz. You know, every Saturday we do SNL Villa Feliz, Saturday Night Live Villa Feliz, and we will be enjoying this as an add-on companion to some of the activities that we do. We do a little bit of music sometimes over on our sound stage. We entertain outside on our porch, in our pavilion, sometimes around the poolside. Now, something else I wanted to talk about real quick is this company, Guangzhou SQF Company Limited. They not only do pool tables, but they have such a wide assortment of anything that has to do with outdoor gym equipment. If you have some place where you need something for health and wellness, for games, there's an immense amount. Pool tape, other types of pool tables, different types of games, accessories, and even for the flooring of different types of fields. If you have a sports arena or something like that, they have just lots of things. Again, I'm going to leave the link if you're interested in doing something maybe for your community or even in your own backyard. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please share. And if you have not subscribed, just click on the little MPID Dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You'll be subscribed and you'll be notified if you ring that bell next time I upload a new video. So until such time from right here in the very beautiful Philippines, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.